Good evening and welcome to Straight to the Top. My name is Marc Davenport, the Wealth Strategist. We have an amazing show for you tonight. You see that I have a young man sitting next to me. His name is Gabriel Norman. He's a financial wizard. He's an investment guru. I've been looking forward to having Gabriel on the show for a while. And so I'm excited and thrilled. So Gabriel, I'm going to shake your hand and say welcome to Straight to the Top.
Thank you.
Okay, and look straight ahead and my audience is going to show a lot of love to you tonight. I know who you are. I know what you do. I know how you do it, and I know how very successful and accomplished you are. But the audience doesn't. So if you don't mind, can you just take a few seconds, introduce yourself, the name of your business, and please let my audience know what is it exactly that you do.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Gabriel Norman. The name of my businesses is Othniel Management and Othniel Financial Advisory Services. Othniel is spelled O as in Oscar, T as in Tango, H-N-I-E-L, and of course, management and Othniel Financial Advisory Services. So quick 20-second elevator speech of what we do is we help money make money. We work with individuals, families, and small businesses. We do that in a couple of ways. We are a RIA, which is a registered investment advisory firm. We are transitioning to a broker-dealer investment advisory firm, full broker-dealer investment advisory firm. We are also a risk management and insurance agency. We cover all insurance. And we are a business consulting firm. So that means that we help businesses get incorporated, whether it be for profit or non-profit. We help them to get funded. We help them to create plans of strategy, continuity, longevity, and profitability.
You said a lot, young man. You said a lot, and you said that in just a matter of seconds. So, look, we go about 30 minutes, okay? And on this platform, Gabriel, one of the things that we do is we want to make sure that everyone tuning in tonight, when they arrive at their office tomorrow or place of business, we want to leave them with something they can put into their toolkit. So tomorrow when they come into the office, we want them to say, last night on Straight to the Top, Marc Davenport and Gabriel Norman gave us some advice on how we can do A, B, and C. That's our commitment. That's our value proposition. That's what makes this platform different from everyone else. Right. Not talk, best practices and tools. Is that fair?
That's fair.
So there were 3 bullet points, 3 topics you wanted to talk about. Yes. And the first one was mindset.
Yes.
Please, what do you mean by that? Break that down for everyone tonight.
Okay. For anyone who desires to go into entrepreneurship, you have to have mental toughness. In other words, there will be individuals out there who are dream killers, dream stealers, and then you have dream builders. You want to be a dream builder, and you want to surround yourself with dream builders. In order to succeed in any aspect of entrepreneurship, your mindset, you have to have these components. You have to have a positive mental attitude. You have to focus on a higher aptitude. You must go forth in ambition, affirmation, application. You also must go forth in altitude and achievement.
So that's an easy thing to do. Well, it's doable for someone that possesses high self-esteem.
Correct.
That's not that challenging for someone like you who has a high degree of confidence and trust in their ability. But not everyone is in that place. So can you, for the benefit of the audience, can you talk about some of the exercises, some of the trainings, some of the best practices that you can suggest or recommend to people tuning in tonight that might not be there, that believe that they have it within, right? They believe that they have it, they want it, and we talked about this a little bit the other night with the great C. Marie Williams. But for everyone who isn't quite ready there yet, what can you share with them tonight?
Okay, so
how do they get there, Gabriel? How do they get there?
So with that being said, I'm going to give everyone here a free plane ticket to get them wherever they want to go. And if I offer you this free plane ticket, all you have to do is take it, apply it, and use it. Now, for those who are watching, straight to the top, write this down. PLANE. You can talk about this tomorrow at work. PLANE. And that's simply put: plan, learn, apply, network, and edify.
Repeat that, please.
Plan, learn, apply, network, and edify. That's everything I said with respect to a positive mental attitude and a great mindset summarized in that concept. Plan, learn, apply, network, and edify. For those who have greatness in them, that is a roadmap to galvanize it.
Can we break those down one at a time real fast?
Yes, real quick.
Start with P, plan.
So real quick, plan. Anything you do, you want to research it. You want to do a reconnaissance of the industry. You want to do a reconnaissance of the clients and the market that you want to create a niche in or a competitive advantage in. As you transition to the L, you want to learn what you're great at. You want to learn what your competitors are doing, and you want to learn the mistakes of others so you know what not to do. Then as you move on to the A, you take what you've learned and applied it. What you want to understand when you do your business, when you structure your business, you want to focus on how can it serve the client. You must make your business client-centered. And if you do that, you will generate longevity as well as profit. You become a resource in your respective industry and community. And then as you go forth into the end, the networking, that's connecting with successful people, that's connecting with other resources that will help get you to those higher tiers of being able to better serve your clients. And then to edify means to lift up. In other words, you want to give back. Just as the doors were open for you, you want to open them for others. Why is this important? Because it keeps you focused. To teach is to learn twice. To educate is to multiply one's own understanding.
Hearts and likes, if that was special. Hearts and likes, if you just heard Gabriel Norman break down his personal business philosophy, which he calls PLANE, PLANE. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been around the block for a long time. I've got the gray hair to prove it. And I've been in a lot of rooms. I've been around a lot of people. I don't think I've ever had anyone break things down in the way that Gabriel just did, and in a manner that was easy to digest. So I asked you to talk about mindset. I think you've done a pretty good job talking about mindset. What's next?
So the next is resources. You want to understand what your resources are. For example, if you desire to be an entrepreneur, you may want to utilize your local small business development center. They are a great resource. That's your local SBDC, Small Business Development Center. You may also want to look at, as you develop your niche, looking at contracting with the government. So you want to utilize your local PTAC. That is your Procurement Technical Assistance Center.
Repeat that, please.
Okay. So you want to utilize your SBDC, your Small Business Development Centers. as well as your local PTAC, your procurement technical assistant centers. These areas can help you develop your business and get a better understanding of what a business plan is, what a business plan does, and how to contract with the government. Now, yes, we help our clients develop strong and fortified business plans here. We also help them to acquire grants as well as contracts here on the state, the local, the federal, corporate, and private levels as well. And we would love to add value to what you're wanting to do, but as a resource that anyone can access, your small business development center, your procurement technical assistance center. Also, you want to look into utilizing your local chamber of commerce. Utilize your local chamber of commerce. Also, you want to utilize industry trade organizations.
For instance,
So, for instance, if you want to go into real estate investment, then you want to look at your local real estate investment clubs or your RIAs, real estate investment clubs. For example, in Houston, Texas, you have what's known as the Rich Club, which is the Real Estate Investment Club of Houston. That is a local trade organization which specializes in helping people understand how to invest in real estate, how to do different type of deals and utilize different type of resources that can be readily available. That is one example of a trade organization.
Gabriel, did you just give the audience, did you just advise the audience that it would be to their benefit to form a community, to be part of a community, instead of taking upon themselves to learn and do everything on their own? Is that what I'm hearing? Develop a community, networking, be part of a community, leverage the resources you have in your local city, do what you can to improve the odds of being successful and to de-risk the business model.
Absolutely. That is exactly what I'm saying. I love how you summarize it so poignantly. If you think about it, the body has cells. These cells come together and they make systems and they function in unity. And that's the same way for any successful business owner. If you want to be a successful business owner, you have to come together, position, and utilize resources. And you have to be open to learning new things. A business owner will never know everything in their industry, but if they're open to learning, they can adapt, they can improvise, overcome, and evolve.
What happens to a business that doesn't do that?
So what happens to a business that doesn't do that, they become stagnant, and then that business, unfortunately, will fail.
Like a dinosaur.
Like a dinosaur.
They'll become extinct. They didn't have the wherewithal, the ability, the capacity to adjust, right?
That is correct.
So what's next?
So what's next is applying what you learned initially from mindset, what you've gathered from resources. So say, for example, let's say, let's start at, we got the business incorporated. Let's say if it's an LLC, we got the business incorporated. Okay, now we want to position the business to be successful. So what do? We can register it in sam.gov. And that is the system for award management.gov. This positions a business to receive government grants and government contracts. We can also get that business registered in FBO.gov. That's Federal Business Opportunities.gov. That is another database which comprises all of the government contracts. So whether you are a primary business contractor or whether you a sub-business contractor, you can still partner and come together to capture that opportunity.
What is the cost to register in these databases?
The cost to register in those databases, if you do it yourself, it is free. If you hire a consulting firm to do it for you, they may allocate a charge, which could be from $500 to $600, depending on how extensive registering your business is in the type of industry that you're engaging in.
Are there any specific credentials or registrations a business must have before they register with these databases?
You must be a actual business. Now, you can be a sole proprietor, but that does not give you any tax benefit or asset protection in the long run. Preferably, if you were a LLC or a C Corp, that would be beneficial to what you're wanting to achieve.
So you have your credentials, you formed a C Corp or you formed an LLC, you registered into the database. What happens next? Is there anything that, as an owner of business, that you can do to shake the trees, to draw attention to you? Can you sort of just walk everybody through the process? What happens once you are registered and entrenched in the federal databases?
Okay, so great thing, and that's a great question. You want to work on developing your business plan. You also want to work on developing a capability statement. What you can do. You answer the questions: who, what, when, why, how, where. By answering these questions, you're giving a profile of who you are and what you do and the value you can add.
Short, so are we talking a short snippet, a mid-sized snippet, or are we talking about something lengthy?
So with respect to your capability statement, you can make that capability statement 1 to 2 pages. Now, as far as your business plan, of course, you have a short and intermediate as well as a broad business plan. So depending on how extensive the need for funding is, that can correlate to the type of business plan that you want to submit. If you want to give a brief executive summary, that can be more so a short business plan. Or if you are positioning for a great amount of funding, you may want to look at a intermediate to broad business plan, which gives how the business is funded, how the business is projected to earn and sustain its profitability. So this way, no matter where you take that business plan, a funder or lender will take a serious look at it.
So let's do this. One of the things we said we were going to talk about tonight is deal flow, how to structure a deal, how to put a deal together. Last month, you and I, we were talking about some debt structuring. We were talking about some specific debt opportunities.
Right.
We were talking about interest rates. We were talking about capacity. We were talking about all of those things. So what I'd like to do, hearts and likes, if you guys are ready to talking about how to acquire capital, hearts and likes if you're ready to take a deep dive. Gabriel, what I would like to do is say, look, I've got a business. Maybe I've been around for 3 years and I'm someone that a cash flow lender might be interested in talking to. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm a startup. Maybe I've been around for a year. Maybe I'm running a profitable business. Maybe I'm not. So that's sort of the scenario, because we have people in different places. What I want to do is, can you please advise my community, if you are in the business and you want to raise capital, what are the steps? And before we go there, ladies and gentlemen, according to the SBA statistics, 90% of everyone who opens a business tomorrow is done in 5 years because they run out of money, lack of working capital. 50% of everyone that launches today is done in a year. Why? Lack of working capital. They ran out of money. They can't afford to cover the day-to-day operating expenses, much less pay themselves a livable salary. So for people out there that have an idea, okay, I know somebody right now that's built a product. It's a phenomenal product. They have a 7-figure ask. So let's use this. Let's talk about a real life company, an LLC. The CEO is savvy. They built a product. They've got some orders. They've got states, large corporations, federal agencies that are interested. They need to raise some money to build out some prototypes. So that's the case study in this example.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's call the ask. $1 million, that's not a big number. Let's call the ask 5 mil.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay. So looking at what Mark has given in the scenario, and the ask is $5 million. We want to look at either 2 points. We want to look at positioning debt, or we want to look at positioning equity. Now, of course, you say, well, what's the difference between debt and what's the difference between equity? So equity is what you own. Debt is what you owe. So, for example, if we have that particular CEO and they say, well, you know what, for $5 million, I will give you a 20% ownership in my company. Now that means that that company is evaluated at $25 million.
By the way, a 20% equity stake for 5 mil is pretty generous. In the real world, we know that investor is going to want a majority stake in their business. But
That
again,
is true.
we're going to keep this simple. Go ahead.
Yes, that is true. Some investors, they would want 30%, 35%, some may even want 40%. Okay, so let's look at the other avenue. Let's look at the debt. So you say, hey, okay, I need $5 million. This is the projected earnings of what we have the capability to do. These are the contracts that we have already. So what you're doing is you're using what you have. You're using the contracts as an asset to position it.
Leverage.
That would be leverage. Yes. So say, for example, we want to look at the spread. In other words, what's known as a cap rate, which is the net operating income over the value of the asset. And then we want to look at what's known as the loan constant. So when we look at the loan constant, we want to look at the principal and interest annualized divided by the debt.
Let's stop for a second. Hearts and likes if we're okay. If we need to slow this down a bit, let us know, okay? Because we're here to give you this information. If we need to slow it down a bit, let us know. Otherwise, hearts and likes, and I see that, hearts and likes are telling us you're with us. Let's go, buddy.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're looking at the spread. We're looking at an income producing asset. We, want to understand these ratios because this is how we can determine if it's beneficial for you as well as if it's beneficial for us as a lender, because there has to be a spread. Keeping it simple. Let's say, hypothetically, you have a cap rate of 20%. And that is a loan constant of 10%. So 20 minus 10 gives us a spread of 10, which means that is room for profitability, just for quick, simple math. If we're looking at positioning debt. Now, there are other opportunities. For example, you have to be creative and think outside the box. Case in point, life insurance is an asset. Yes, life insurance can be positioned as an asset.
Leverage.
Leverage.
We hear that L word again, right?
Leverage.
Not love, but leverage.
Absolutely. So let's look at what we have access to, and let's look at what we can leverage. So once again, life insurance is an asset that can be leveraged. Okay, what else can be leveraged? Well, let's say once again, you've been in the business 3 years, you have some type of money. Let's say you put it in a couple of investments, a couple of portfolios. Well, those portfolios, those securities can be leveraged. Okay, well, you say, I hear what you're saying, but that's not where I'm at right now. Okay, well, let's look at, can we position ourselves to capture a contract? And it doesn't have to be a large contract, but it can be a contract that we can go after. So this way we can add to the scope of work to say, this is what we did and we were successful in doing it. What are you doing now? Now you are positioning the success and the skill set of your business as an asset, which gives you leverage. So those are some of the techniques that you may not necessarily hear, but they can be positioned. Okay, what's another opportunity? Well, let's say, well, I tried to go for a grant, but that didn't happen. Okay, well, let's take a step back and understand why it didn't happen. Most people, when they look at a grant, they want the grant to serve them. They want to get whatever they can get out of a grant. But if you truly want to succeed, you have to align your vision and your mission up with the vision and the mission of that grant and facilitate it.
Are you speaking to the CEO of a non-profit right now?
Now, here's a common misnomer. Most people think that only nonprofits can obtain grants. For-profit as well as nonprofit can obtain grants. The grant is so that the vision and the mission can be facilitated. So whatever the need is or whomever that grant is designed to help can be facilitated, whether that's a for-profit or a nonprofit. Now, yes, there are specific grants that are geared toward nonprofit, but both for-profit and nonprofits can apply for grants. That is another way to showcase skill. That is another way to showcase how you could manage a budget and allocate it and be successful, which means that you can position and leverage that.
So we go 30 minutes. We're up against the clock.
Okay.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about underwriting, what that is, what that means, and what the CEO must be able to provide to an underwriter in order to get in order to be considered for debt, for a loan.
Okay. So when you are looking at the underwriting process, we want to look at what is the purpose for those funds? How will those funds be paid back? What is the collateral that can be positioned? We want to take into account those things. Preferably, we want to look at 6 months of bank statements. Why? Because this helps us to understand your consistency.
Anybody can have a good month. Anybody can have a bad month, but you know what? Let's see how you're doing consistently month over month. Is that the logic behind that?
That is the logic behind that. That is the logic behind that. We want to understand what's going on. So if there are any red flags, we can address them with you, which gives you an opportunity to explain, this is what happened in this particular month. But if you look at the long term, it allows us to recover. Would you like me to stop that?
Let's go. Keep going.
Okay. Okay. Now, with that being said, also when we're looking at the underwriting process, we want to take into account how long the business has been established. We want to look at how that business has been maintained, and we also want to look at what is the plan for continued success and longevity in the business. Yes, that money can be approved, and yes, that business, so long as it meets a specific criteria of the lender, can qualify. But if that business does not have an action plan for success, as well as accountability for those monies to be paid back, then it's not going to benefit the business owner to get the money, and it's not going to benefit us to lend the money.
So in other words, your financials, your plan, etc., should be strong enough to de-risk the opportunity.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, you must be able to show sufficient cash flow to not only cover the day-to-day cost of running the business,
Yes.
but to service the debt. Is that fair?
That is fair and a correct assessment.
April, I see your question. We will get back to you. Look, I knew that we were probably going to run out of time.
Yes.
And I knew that 30 minutes wouldn't be enough. So ladies and gentlemen, hearts and likes, if you would like me to invite Gabriel Norman back to pick up where he left off so we could really take a deeper dive. Today, we only really touched on the debt side. Really want to get into the equity side as well. We want to make sure you guys really understand how this works. Gabriel, two things. For those people who are meeting you and seeing you for the first time, and if they want to learn more or they're interested in working with you, how do they get in touch with you?
Okay. Couple of ways. You can go to our website, which is afnielmanagement.com. And once again, that's O as in Oscar, T as in Tango, HNIEL Management, MANAGEMENT.com. You can also email me at Gabriel, GAB or IEL, Norman, NORMAN, at afnielmanagement.com. Or you can go to LinkedIn and Facebook and type in Gabriel Norman, and it will pull up the Afniel Management as well as the Afniel Financial profile.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, I promise Gabriel and I will answer them. So if there's something that's on your mind right now, please put it in. Wait until you hear what this young man has in store for 2019. Finally, is there a promotion and opportunity for the people tuning in tonight that you share with the audience?
Yes. So with respect to our investment advisory services, we do a full financial roadmap. Normally that would cost $400, but we will take 50% off of that, which would be $200.
And so anybody that they'll have your information. I'll post it later. $400 roadmap for RMI for straight to the top viewers. It's a 50% savings opportunity. That's available for $200. I'll post some information or one page from Gabriel, so that you know exactly what all of that entails. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, he'll be back. Let me close by saying, from my house to yours, I'm wishing everyone a healthy, safe, and profitable new year. May your revenues, may your blessings multiply above and beyond your wildest dreams. Remember, have a plan, have a great plan, and prepare. Have a really great plan and prepare and practice. And not just practice, but practice above and beyond what anyone else is doing. And if you practice and perform at a very high level, you won't have any competition. You will become the competition. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to go straight to the top. Happy holidays. We'll see you next year. God bless.